The first presidential election that I voted in was in 2004. I turned 18 in 2001, so I had to wait a few years. But I was not one of those that didn't vote until I got older. I registered as soon as I turned 18, and I voted when I could, like the '02 primaries. But I was looking forward to my very first presidential election. Back then, newspapers were still a big thing, and I read three every day. I'm a nerd, I know. I read the Tuscaloosa News and the Birmingham News and USA Today. Each newspaper had sections every day. I was keeping up with the Democrat candidates heading into the primary season, and each newspaper had a section every day talking about each candidate. And that was back during the dial-up days and no smartphones. So while I would read online at home when I could, most of my research was done using the newspapers. And there was one candidate who really had me excited to see what he could do. I didn't know much about him other than what I had read, but what I had read were good things. That candidate was Vermont Governor Howard Dean. I thought he could be the Democratic presidential candidate as long as he did well in the first few primaries. Then in the first primary, the Iowa caucus, Dean came in third. And that night, Howard Dean gave a speech to his supporters and said this.
You know something? You know something? If you had told us 1 year ago that we were going to come in third in Iowa, we would have given anything for that. And you know something? You know something? Not only are we going to New Hampshire, Tom Harkin, we're going to South Carolina and Oklahoma and Arizona and North Dakota and New Mexico. And we're going to California and Texas and New York. And we're going to South Dakota and Oregon and Washington and Michigan. And then we're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House. Yeah!
The scream. The Dean scream, as it is called. That simple, odd yell has its own damn Wikipedia page because it ruined Howard Dean's presidential campaign. He lost several more primaries and eventually suspended his campaign. And I later learned that Dean didn't have as much inside support as I previously thought, but the scream to this day is what is remembered as the death knell of normal everyday supporters. It was everywhere. Every channel played it over and over and over. This was before YouTube. This was before Facebook. It went viral before going viral was a thing. It was a meme before memes existed. It was a GIF before GIFs existed. That scream ended Howard Dean's dream of being president. And to be honest, I don't really know why. Maybe he still would have kept losing primaries if the scream never happened, and then the outcome would have still been the same. But we would never know. But the scream is what is remembered as being the reason Howard Dean never became president. It's been 20 years since the scream. It happened on January 19th, 2004, which was Martin Luther King Jr. Day, leading to another name for it being the I Have a Scream. And when you look at it in perspective of today, like when you look at it, you see how much things have changed because today it really seems minuscule. And today is Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and primary season's heating up. I think today is the Iowa caucus. And just look at how much things have changed in the last 20 years. In 2004, an overzealous Yale ended Howard Dean's presidential run. In 2024, conservatives are rallying behind a candidate with 91 felony charges. A weird scream in Iowa put Dean out of the Oval Office, But Republicans want to put a man in the Oval Office who recently told Iowans that they needed to get over a school shooting in Iowa. They need to get over a school shooting while Trump, still can't get over losing the 2020 election. The people who claim to love America are supporting a man who said on camera he hopes the economy tanks so Biden can be blamed and he can use it for his campaign. He wanting Americans to suffer so he can use it to his benefit. Wanting Americans to suffer so he can use it to his benefit is the epitome of the Republican Party in 2024. It's the epitome of MAGA. The only way they can make America great again is if some of us, or all of us, suffer. That tracks. Conservatives are claiming Biden is a dictator and ignoring Trump saying he would be one. Ignoring Trump saying he was going to be president for 4 years and beyond. Call me crazy, but I don't think a dictator would allow fuck Joe Biden flags to be flown. Call me crazy, but I don't think a dictator would allow Fox News or Newsmax or OAN to exist. Call me crazy, but I don't think a dictator would allow all these people on social media to be saying all these things about Joe Biden, calling him a pedophile, calling him a dirty old man, calling him a corrupt, money laundering, senile, criminal mastermind, dementia patient. I don't think a dictator would allow any of that. They claim Biden is a dictator and he's guilty of treason and should face charges of prosecution at the same exact damn time. They say Trump has immunity from his charges for what he did as president because president means he is immune from prosecution. So just going by that convoluted MAGA logic, Biden can't face charges and he can't be prosecuted since he has immunity. Maybe he is a dictator then. I don't know. Maybe. But then we roll back around to the whole fuck Joe Biden flags flying everywhere. No matter how many times I twist it, I can't twist it enough times like they do to make it make sense. It's been 20 years and we have went from a scream ruining a campaign to a man who tried to overthrow the democracy being the Republican frontrunner. And MAGA has the audacity to say that they are on the right side of history. So man tried to overthrow the government, overthrow the will of the people, to be put into the highest office. And they say they're on the right. Where else in history have we seen something similar? Where else have we seen a man who tried to overthrow the government get in trouble for it? Then the government and the citizens kind of went lenient on him. And then he wormed his way back into the government and into the highest office, only to be the worst person in history. Where have we seen that before? I can't quite put my finger on it. MAGA Fuhrer. In 2004, a scream made people say, "Nah, we don't want him." In 2024, Trump is directly quoting Hitler and is the front runner. A man who never goes to church, never went to church, holds a Bible upside down for a photo op and refuses to name his favorite Bible verse, is putting out videos saying God chose Trump. What kind of backwards funhouse mirror bizarro land bullshit is going on here? What in the dumb fuckery do we have here? What is going on? Can somebody explain it to me like I'm Lauren Boebert? And then MAGA saying the only reason that Trump is being prosecuted is because Biden is going after his political opponents. Meanwhile, Trump is saying if he gets back in office, the first thing he's going to do is go after his political opponents. Newsflash. This is such a hard concept for people to grasp, even though it is a simple concept for anybody else to grasp. Trump is not being prosecuted for his crimes simply because he is running for president. Trump is running for president to try to avoid prosecution for his crimes. And he has convinced people to see past the easy truth and believe his lies. Never underestimate the power of stupid people being told what they want to hear. And the ones that are on the right that are smart enough to see through the lies are too scared or too weak to do or say anything, because in Trump's world, you're either all in or you're all out. There is no middle ground. The moment your loyalty wanes, the moment he even thinks or senses that your loyalty is waning, he goes in the attack, and you're finished faster than Howard Dean after the yeah. And Trump was told by the courts to be quiet and not threaten anyone. I mean, it's a gag order. And that night, posted online, if you go after me, I'm coming after you. And MAGA's just like, well, of course, that's fine. I mean, his First Amendment rights are being violated. What? This is a man who said windmills are killing whales. Then that he watched multiple dead whales wash up on shore. A man who recently said that magnets won't work in water and that John Deere makes elevators. Who ridicules anyone who isn't openly fawning over him. And has said multiple times that he's running against Obama. A man who was on the Epstein flight logs. A man who wished Ghislaine Maxwell wished her well. All it took in 2004 was one weird yell to knock Howard Dean out of the running to becoming president. In 2024, MAGA has decided that the more vile you can be, the more egregious you are, the more they want to hitch their wagon to you. And they have to, because if not, they'll be put out to pasture. And here's the part that I just don't get. Here's the part that I keep just running through my head. I can't make sense of it. The few things that I've mentioned that Trump has said or done, he said or done those things fairly recently. If I try to list all the things Trump has said or done since he entered politics back in 2015, it will be longer than 6 Bibles. Maybe then Trump will read the Bible. Who knows? A yell, the Dean scream, is all it took in 2004. Today, in 2024, directly quoting Hitler is just one pebble of sand on the beach of what the fuck. We've got to do better.